You're listening to the CVS show on Phonic FM 106.8, bringing news from the voluntary and community sector in Exeter. Exeter CVS runs the local volunteer centre, offers affordable learning in IT, management and personal development, and gives membership support to charities and community groups across the city. Visit www.exetercvs.org.uk or call 01392 20 20 55 to find out more.
Lists and no prescriptions. No format or phony competitions. Phonic FM on 106.8 provides a 24-hour sound alternative for Exeter and beyond.
Indeed it does. And on Thursday afternoon, it's the CVS show. So I want to welcome all listeners to the CVS show, and I want to welcome my very special guest this afternoon. I've got Judith and Julia from Buturi Project. Hiya.
Hi.
Hiya.
It's something that we know about at the CVS and the Volunteer Centre Buturi. And Julia, you're volunteering for Buturi at the moment, aren't you?
I am, yeah. Have been since about January, Judith, was it? Yeah.
And because you were on the show with a different hat on a little while ago.
Yes, I have two volunteering hats. I was on the show with the local diabetes group a few months ago.
Yeah, and I think I might have found you a third hat as well, which I briefly mentioned earlier on, but we won't go into that because we're here to talk about Judith's project, which is Buturi. Judith, tell us a bit about the project. I mean, Buturi is a place, isn't it, in Tanzania?
Yes, Buturi is a community in northern Tanzania, right on Lake Victoria. It's an area of probably about between 30 to 35 mile radius. Mm-hmm. It's in Rorya district. In Mara region in Tanzania. Yeah.
Okay. And over there, I'm looking at some of the pictures on your website. It's there's water problems, isn't there?
Water is an issue for all African, actually, but Buturi happen to be very remote. But equally, they're also right on Lake Victoria, but there's no infrastructure of clean water, so whatever water they get is fetching it from a dirty pond. Yeah. So water is a huge issue for sub-Saharan African, yes.
Yeah, it's interesting because we've done a couple of shows over the last couple of years on, it's called World Toilet Day in November. Okay. Mm-hmm. And the big statistic that comes out of that is 1 in 3 people on the planet doesn't have access to clean water.
Absolutely. It's, at this 21st century, it's actually quite surreal, but it's a fact.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. It's quite a scary fact, and that has such an impact on, obviously, health.
Absolutely.
Particularly children's health.
Absolutely, yeah.
So, Judith, is this where you originate from, Buturi?
Yes, I'm originally... This is actually what the village where I was born.
Yeah.
But I've been a resident in Devon for about going 30 years now. So
right,
Devon is my home, it's my community.
Yes.
So yes, yeah.
So how did you start the project up? Was it something you felt passionate about?
Well, I always wanted to do a project, but I think as an ex-UN worker, you always kind of too busy doing project to where you are assigned to do.
Okay, so you work for the United Nations?
No, my husband used to.
Yeah.
But you become part of that process.
Yeah.
So when you're in another country, you do the good work for that particular country. So you don't think of actually your own home. Mm-hmm. But equally, when I went back home, especially the women, the grannies, they always ask me, have you heard of somebody called Mr. Water Aid?
Right.
And with a grin on my face, I'll say, because they can't tell the difference, because they know that Water Aid is giving water, so they think it's a parcel.
Okay, yeah.
And then, so they will say that, well, can you talk to him? And they tell him that we need water, and they'll say next year. So over the years, the time passed, and I haven't done anything about it. Year 2008 was the calling for United Nations for awareness of clean water and the sanitation. And I decided that was my kind of year that I had the courage to actually approach my local community in Exmouth and Exmouth to help me sink a well.
Yeah.
And I was very grateful that actually nobody shut the door on my back. So yes, that's how the project started. The project started as a one-off, giving a clean water to Buturi community.
Yeah.
And we successfully gave that gift through East Devon around under the school, because we did fundraising through the schools, and we did things like production based on Lion King, and we had over 30 schools were involved.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
So people really got behind it.
Absolutely. So it was really a heartfelt gift from a community in Devon, yes.
Yeah. That's good. So is there now a sense of that? There's a link between the community in here?
We are not officially linked, but I think most of the school within Exmouth and the Sidmouth knows about the project because they helped me deliver that well. But also we realized there was more problem in this area because of the age and the different gap between the younger generation that are not going to school and the older generation that are looking after them, which are the grandparents.
Yeah.
So when you see the situation, your heart goes out. What do we do? Do we sponsor a child? But so that is a novel thing to think that we can sponsor a child. But then you realize actually there's more than one sibling, one family. So how do you choose? So we actually talked to the community, the village, and unanimously they all wanted a place where each child can go to school and have an opportunity.
Right. Yeah.
So then I'm not an architect and I'm not a school builder, so I came back and persuade or approach one of the local architect, which based in Exmouth, ARA, and kind of introduced the project to them and put down my concern and how we could achieve it, and I was very grateful. They said yes, but before he did anything, he actually traveled to Africa and visit the community.
Oh wow! So he went out and thought, "I'm going to go look at this."
There, yes, and I think that gave him a chance to see who is he going to help and what help is needed, but also looking at the environment and the landscape. If we are looking at eco building, where the material going to come from. So that's how we managed to. Came back and he designed a school for the community and as a gift, which we are very grateful because that good value for money if somebody can come from here as a professional consultants they did the survey and they designed the school, so that part of the fundraising achieved. I mean, is that an important thing for the people out there? They know that there's someone far away that's actually thinking of them and cares enough to actually get involved. And I think they do, because we had not one but probably 4 times now people from here in Devon have visited the village. So with the water, we had somebody visit the village from here, but we also with the school. And also when we were putting a foundation for the school, I was very grateful to have a small business builder went out and actually worked with the community for 2 weeks to put the foundation down.
Wow.
So they are getting used to people from Devon actually visit, so they are very much aware that they got a lot of support from here.
Wow. This would make a really good documentary for television, wouldn't it?
Well, probably. Maybe that is another show. We could try that next time. Yes.
So at the moment, there's been a successful well built and the schoolhouse is built. I've seen pictures of the schoolhouse. So what is the next kind of plans for?
We have water and we also have the school. We also have the sanitation. Is a huge problem because you can imagine we got over 200 children. The sanitation was a huge problem. So we were very grateful with Rotary Exmouth. They help us with some of the funding that we deliver, 8 sanitation, 4 for girls, 4 for boys. I think at this particular moment, we are very, very keen to fundraise and finish the rest of the classroom. For Tanzania protocol, you have to have 8 classrooms in order for the school to become fully affiliated with the regulation of the education through the Ministry of Education.
So there's a lot of work to be done.
There's a lot of work to be done, yes.
And in that, with that in mind, there's a good fundraising opportunity coming up for you guys, isn't there?
Yeah, we are staging our 3rd gala coming up in Exmouth at Ocean View in Exmouth Seafront, and this is called Safari Charity Gala Dinner.
Yes.
So it's a taste of Tanzania. It's a chance to taste a bit of Tanzania cuisine with a giving, of course.
I mean, that's a lovely way of doing it. I think that those.
Well, we get to understand a bit of the cultural and a little bit about the background of the area and their food. Food is a very important part of our day-to-day life. So
Excellent. So we want people to book in and go to this, don't we? Because that way they're going to have a fantastic evening, and they're going to be raising money at the same time.
Yeah.
So is this happening? I've got the date in my head. Is 26th of November?
It's the 28th of November, and it's a 4-course meal, dinner and dance, and we actually got Dakar Audio based here in Exeter playing live music for us.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it should be a nice evening. Yeah.
So it's a 4-course meal.
Yes.
And it's Tanzanian style food.
Tanzania style food.
Oh, so tell us about that then. What's the menu?
The first course we have curry, because Tanzania we produce spices. Yeah. So we got curry, butternut squash, and the coconut.
Oh God!
So that's our first menu, and the second menu we are using vegetable, but we are having kind of an infusion of the West. So we are having courgette fritter with the sweet potatoes, honey, and the cinnamon. Again, cinnamon we produce in Zanzibar. Yeah. So we are still keeping up with the theme at the same time. Yeah. And therefore we have chicken paka, which is saucy chicken. Yeah. And for those vegetarian, we have red kidney beans, which is a huge staple diet for Africa. Yeah. Yeah. And then for dessert, we have ginger cake. With the ginger ice cream. I think the ice cream is the Western twist.
Yes. Ginger ice cream is my favourite ice cream. So you've got live music, you've got a superb full-course meal.
We've also got art and the craft, which we're going to use as our auction.
Oh, okay, yeah. Mm-hmm. So that's who's made the stuff? Is that made in Buturi?
No, the stuff are made in East Africa. Yeah. It's a fair trade products that we got. So we're going to have some going on an auction.
Okay.
Yeah, they're really quite good. Nice, good, handmade products from natural materials such as sisal and wood. Yeah.
Oh, I know the kind of. I bought some stuff down at the Eden Project. Yeah. That's kind of thing. It comes from Africa. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It sounds like a fantastic evening.
It's worth it for the view.
The view. I mean.
Yeah. It's a new venue, so it's really, really quite a prestigious place. Really, very, very nice. I think they host their business award last year, and it's a fantastic venue. Yeah, because you got a panorama view of the seafront.
Yeah, and I mean I haven't been there, but I've been somewhere that's a little bit similar in Bideford, at Westwood Ho, and I think it was a place that was completely renovated with help from the local council, and it's a bistro restaurant where you literally look out onto the sea.
This is actually also owned by the local council. Yeah, it's a council owned. Yes,
they've been good at doing that kind of input into the communities.
And it's on the top, so the suite that Judith's hired for Buturi is on the top floor. And so you get these wonderful views just straight out to sea. And it's a nice venue. It's got a bar, it's got roof terraces and stuff. So it'll be a splendid evening. It'll be great.
It sounds like a splendid
and there'll be
evening.
lots of information about Buturi. Around slideshow, hopefully, and a presentation from someone who's been involved with Buturi for a long time.
So hopefully some of the people who come along for the evening will then continue to be involved and help out in some way.
We hope. Yes.
We hope people come for the entertainment and for the food, and because they want to support Buturi, but maybe also they want to have a nice evening out with their friends.
Something different, because Julia, you popped in to see us at the CVS a few weeks ago, and we were talking about this, Judith, and thinking maybe if people want to book for their staff Christmas meal.
This is the idea behind it, because in the corporate world, people now looking at that social responsibility. Christmas coming, we're going to celebrate it one way or the other, but what I'm saying, maybe come and support Buturi, celebrate with a different, but at the same time you are giving. Your £35 or not only going to give you 4-course meal with a dance, but at the same time that is life-changing for these children. So
yes, exactly.
You're going to have a good time, but at the same time your money is going for a good cause, changing life at the same time. So we hope people can come and celebrate, but also give the people that don't know about Buturi to learn a little bit about Buturi, where we are, what are we doing, and what is the future for this area. And we have some good program coming up for next year.
It sounds exciting. And the ticket price, is it the same as what you said, 35?
It's 35.
Yeah, 35. That's good.
And if you go online, www.buturi-project.org/event, that should take you to the event that's coming up. The tickets are £35, and then you can book a table. Or if you are a company or a corporate, you could book a table for 12.
Okay, so up to 12 people.
Yeah, up to 12 people sitting, and they come and they support us.
Yeah, I think it sounds like a fantastic thing to do. Okay, well, we'll have a couple of tracks, and then we'll ask a bit about what other volunteers can get involved and do. Giving you a hand, really.
The CVS Show, exploring the nation's second favourite pastime. Go to www.exetercvs.org.uk to find out how you can make a difference in your community.
And we're not just talking about making a difference in your own community, but in other people's communities as well. And I think that's a theme really that's come out over the last few years. And Julia, you and I both known organisations like Amantani and Children's Aid with Ricardo. So people in other parts of the world who have a link here in Devon, and the people of Devon kind of embracing them. And wanting to help, and that's why Judith is here this afternoon. So while the music was on, we were talking about how Exmouth Community College has got involved.
Yes, Exmouth Community College just got involved the last month, actually, and I'm working very closely with the Post 16 alongside head of Post 16, Mr. David White. They are really brilliant young teenagers that are coming up. They're coming from all different backgrounds. Some of them are photographers, some of them want to be business. So I'm very grateful that actually they're moving the project very, very forward. They have a huge ambition for the next 2 years, what they want to do with the Buturi Project. When I gave a presentation, they realized actually the children are very malnutritious and they are walking miles and miles without any food. And the food program is one of the program that we actually want to tackle when the school building is finished. And they decided they are raising funds to actually build a canteen.
Oh wow! Excellent.
And like I said, they're brilliant kids, because the very day I started the presentation with them, they actually form a committee. So they got their own committee. They've already opened up a website. If you go to go find me, Buturi Post 16, you will actually find them online. So if you want to donate through them, you are very welcome.
Great.
Public are welcome to donate through them.
Well, I'll put that link to the web article on our website.
And they are also on the website, Post 16 Buturi. And again, it's linked with the Buturi Facebook at the same time. So they are doing their bit, and hopefully they will shine up. It's early stage, but they seem to have a huge ambition.
Good.
It's a great way for young people to actually learn all sorts of skills. You know, setting up a committee, you know, putting up the website for themselves. It's a real thing. They're not having to do something academic, but it's a real thing working with Buturi. And Judith's worked with various schools across the southwest over the years, and got young people to sort of take some responsibility for stuff that's happening worldwide. It's we live in a global world, and you know, the more that it becomes reality through actually doing something concrete like fundraising or understanding that, you know, some kids haven't got access to clean water or to good food. It is a real learning curve for a lot of these schools, and the more people are doing this, you know, the better our world will become. Is my feeling.
Absolutely.
It's really important, the work Judith's doing. She may not be getting a great deal of money out of it, but I think she's actually growing our own communities through doing this.
But again, what you're saying, I agree, Julia, when we are talking of looking at our younger generation, they are the future of tomorrow. The Buturi Project is empowering younger generation through education, but also empowering them from a grassroots, working with the college like Exmouth Community College, these are the young of tomorrow. So by giving them a responsibility and looking at a project as in a business world, that can only strengthen them up going further education. So at the end of the day, the empowerment is not just for the village but also for our youngs over here, and this is why it's important for us to work with them, because not only they become ambassador and a big sister for the kids that we are working with in Africa to look up to them, but it's also something for them that they can build through their portfolio. So it's kind of a win-win situation that we try to understand our global issue problems at the same time.
And they'll be there on the 28th, some of them. Waiting tables.
They're going to be waiting the table.
Good stuff.
And they will hopefully, I think they're going to do a great job. I've worked with the Exmouth College post-16 and with our previous gala, and we don't give the youngs enough credit, actually. They do a fantastic job, and I'm sure Exmouth Community College is going to do just the same, and they make the evening go flowly.
Flow lovely, actually. I'm sure it will. It's a great opportunity for them to learn new skills and to give some passion into what they're doing as well.
But also I was going to mention for the young generation or for the teenagers that maybe from Exeter area, Exmouth Community College is going to be at the Guildhall on November 21st, which is a Saturday, and they're going to be doing their fundraising for Buturi. So if you're around or the kids are around their generation, they can pop in and they have a chat with them. See what is motivating them to become part of the project.
So is it all day at the Guildhall?
I think it's going to be all day from 9 to 5:30.
Brilliant.
It's a great one. And I think Judith would like to get people more from Exeter more involved in what Buturi is doing. I mean, she's a one-woman show in some ways.
I know, you do kind of take the whole thing on yourself.
And you've taken on Sidmouth and Exmouth.
It's quite hard when you are starting, because Buturi Project started as a one-off water giving. But when we deliver water, we realized actually there was a lot of problem in this particular community, and we really you can't help one to help more. But helping with how do we help them help themselves in terms of sustainability and tackling some of their problems like global issues such as maybe drought, climate changes. And these are some of the problems even us here in UK, we live with it, and we try to learn about how do we change it. Buturi is not much different. The only difference is in a very isolated area, very remote. Sometimes there's no telephone, although the texting is becoming a thing of the 21st century. Even the Buturi, everybody have mobile, but nothing else. So I kind of not help thinking that actually we could do more by trying to help with the basics, such as the school, the water, but maybe we could also help them learn about their problem of climate change. How do we deal with the drought? I just finished working up with designing a water rain harvest with the Exeter University from the engineering department, and that is something that is now online. We want to help them deal with the school deal with their climate change by probably rain catching water that when the rainy season is available, and that water can be stored, and then from there we'll help them to start their own permaculture, because food is a huge issue, nutrition is a huge issue for them, but we don't want to raise funds to give them money to buy a bowl of rice. We want them to actually, how do they plant and how do they look at food production? How do they manipulate their own environment to make it work? Absolutely. So I'm now very busy trying to network with like-minded group in those departments. I've just recently talked to somebody called Nick Scott, who's actually navigating through Devon School looking at composting. Fantastic subject, but very, very important. So people like that will probably help me understand the area, but probably Buturi understand their own problem and how do they deal with it. So the project is not about giving them what they need, but really empowering them through that education, whether it's a curriculum or vocation or workshop in order for them to get knowledge and they dispatch that knowledge within their community.
Yeah, exactly. It's empowering is the perfect word for it, really.
Yeah, it's the only way, because we are here, we don't live there, they live there every day. They have to own it.
Yes, they do.
They have
definitely.
to own it. Yeah.
I like the idea of the kind of very personal connection with it as well, because I think people will quite often hear there's problems in different areas of the world. There's drought, there's food shortages, and they want to do something, but they sort of think, well, what can I do, and who do I do it for or with? But actually having a very personal connection. Well, okay, I'm going to get involved with Buturi because I've met Judith, and I know about the people out there. You need that kind of connection, I think, to actually really get behind it.
Yeah. And it's about people using the skills they've got, like, Judy's saying, working with somebody who knows about composting.
Yeah, exactly.
It's about, there's lots of people around who've got specific skills and think, well, how could I use that? But talking to Judith over this period, it's clear that there's people here with all sorts of skills that could really be valuable and bring something, and they don't have to go out and build a school or whatever. They can just give their knowledge,
give ideas and things,
give ideas. And I think that volunteers often think, I've got nothing to give, I just sit every day and think about composting. Well, linking it up with something like this, yes, you've got a lot to give. And it's about organisations really understanding how to use volunteers and how to empower volunteers. I'm sure you know this, John, I don't need to tell you, but you have got to support and empower volunteers to give what they have to give. And I think something like the Buturi Project has so many facets. Have a look at their website. It's very well put together. It tells you the things that Judith and the project are trying to achieve, and see where you fit in as a volunteer. Is there something there that you could give? It could be just a one-off thing, like I know about renewables, or I know about this. I come and work with you for a month or something and get that done, and whatever. It doesn't have to be a great long-term commitment. It can be just sharing your knowledge in that sort of way.
Absolutely, I agree with what you're saying. It doesn't have to be a long time, but it can be on a very, very short period. And your consultancy, whether you are hand-on input, it can make a huge difference. If I give you an example, the builder who came out with us, he was only there for 2 weeks, but that 2 weeks we achieve actually the foundation of the whole school with the working alongside the community. They're now laying their own brick from the mud and firing them, and that's what we are using for building.
Exactly.
So those kind of technology that they did not have, but it can be reached because they have everything to make it happen. But they need that direction because it's not what they do every day. So any little input, if you are passionate about permaculture or you are passionate about alternative technology, because again, those are the things that they needed. If we can collect water and store it during the drought, the school can carry on doing irrigation by pumping it with a low solar panel.
So, of course,
they are all connected somehow. So again, people in that department, community enterprise, we are looking at how we could help the women or empower the women, look at what they have. But in a sense that how could we help them elaborate that in terms of if they're good at weaving. It's something that probably they can look into in a business acumen, because they're good at weaving, but they don't think of weaving of commercial weaving.
No.
They only think of their weaving for their bed laying or for their bed laying. But how can we utilize it? Because their weaving is very, very different, and it's a special pattern that it need to be shared across the globe. But they're not sharing. It's kind of kept, and the more it's kept, actually those traditional skills are dying. But this area where we are in Buturi, there's no interface, there's no employment. So at the same time, the younger generation who managed to finish primary school or secondary school, for whatever reason, they fail to go further. They are not going to further training. They are not going to university. So they are faced with the dilemma that what do they do? farming is too hard. It's too hard in a sense that if you have probably 10 acres, you got a rainy season coming in 1 minute.
Yeah.
You are not going to be able to plow that 10 acre in one go in order to meet the rain and weed it. And so it's a lot of issues that need to be looked into. How do we help them farm smart? But with no infrastructure at the same time, there's no backup. It's an area. How do they deal with their younger generation? Because the younger generation also moving away from the village, going to the town, thinking that actually there's a better life in town. There's no better life in town, to be honest, because that's how they end up creating what you call the slum.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
So it's kind of it's a project that we are looking at in overall. This is the community. What do they have? What problem are they facing? How do we help them understand those problems? And what are the solutions out there? Some solutions are quite easy that they could adapt. So this is where we are looking at people from areas that are specialized in those areas.
So they've got their own special skills.
Yeah.
And thinking. It's a lot of thinking involved.
It is a lot of thinking. It is a lot of thinking. But they are practical thinking.
Yes, yeah.
They are
Coming up with solutions.
We are not creating, we are not inventing what they've already not have. They've already got it there. They have been farming for years, even before I was born. But it's just they have to change because the climate is changing. When I was a young baby, they had what you call monsoon. It will 6 months in a year that is nothing but torrential rain. Nowadays they don't have that. They have what you call April shower.
So it's really changed that much.
It's changed dramatic.
Wow.
It changed absolutely dramatic.
So are people with knowledge and skills around things like water storage, I mean, that is just
water storage is quite good. Alternative energy is good, but again, permaculture, kind of designing the garden in a smart way that the water is retained, rather than it running straight away, so that when it rains, it can retain for a long period rather than just washing it. Again, there's no trees because they cut it all. So those are the things that people that are in conservation. Conservation is again, those are the people that we are very keen on because we are going back to the grassroots education.
Grassroots,
literally grassroots.
with no trees.
It is fascinating. So really, we want anyone who thinks they might be interested or have got any sort of piece of knowledge to help is get in touch with you.
Absolutely.
So how do people get in touch, Judith? What's the best way?
You can get, if you go to www.buturi-project.org, that will take you to our main website. But if you want to look at specific project, then you go to www.buturi-project/fundraising programs.
Okay,
and that will take you to each program that we are fundraising on for.
So we want people.
And then just to get in touch with you by email.
Email, we've got most of our email on, and then there's a telephone also.
And also, even someone who just wants to come and help in an admin way.
We welcome that. We are very short, like Julie mentioned before. Buturi Project started as a community project with a few like-minded professionals that are working full-time. And the last 3-4 years, we actually fundraise from home. This is our first year that we're actually looking for an office, working from an office. So we're really appealing for volunteer to come. We are looking at volunteer in the business section. If you are a business savvy person, we have a number of idea program that we want to empower the community because they got so much that they could turn into a business. Or if you are an admin person, we are very short of admin that can help us take the message out there. And finance, we are very much into fundraising in terms of that's what we want to look into, the fundraising, bidding or proposal or writing. There are some organization and a trust that are interested in product charity like us, but we have to write those proposals out. It's a program that we hope to start January next year. If you are probably somebody in alternative technology or computer savvy, we are looking at all those people.
Great, yeah.
So we are kind of all rounded.
Come along to the gala and meet Judith there and find out more in a very nice atmosphere with a nice meal and music. So do come along on the 28th.
Find out more and particularly any businesses out there.
Yes,
that'd be good.
Yeah, we are very
bring your staff.
Bring your staff along, and you'll be glad that you did. It'll be really, really interesting. Yeah,
it should be a good evening.
Okay, that's brilliant. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Okay, no worries at all.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Brilliant.
You've been listening to the CVS show on Phonic FM. The show was produced by John Stammers and Nick Kiss for Exeter CVS. For more information about any of the issues raised in this programme, visit www.exetercvs.org.uk, email cvs@exetercvs.org.uk, call 01392 2020 55, or visit us weekdays 9:30 to 4:30 on King William Street. Exeter CVS is a registered charity supporting the community and voluntary sector in Exeter.